Hello, I'm Linda Steele from Melbourne, Australia. I was thrilled to be accepted to Quilt National for the first time. I flew over with a friend and we loved every minute of it. I met so many of the other artists and all the quilts were amazing. I started as a traditional quilter about 30 years ago and then have been designing my own quilts for about 20 years. I designed a series of work about the coral reefs of Australia, encompassing both the beauty and the dangers they face using hand and machine techniques. In 2018, I had the opportunity to study with Nancy Crowe for 2 weeks, and she suggested that I try contemporary abstract work. So began a new direction in my work. I found that I loved making quilts about what or how I feel. I hadn't done any machine piecing for years, and suddenly I found that I enjoyed that as well. 2020 gave me the gift of time and I learnt improv piecing and I fell in love with the technique. I like to try and express how I feel about something. It's intangible, something I cannot quite grasp. Colour and piecing help because they can suggest emotion, form and gesture. I love the challenge and surprise of improv or intuitive piecing, but that doesn't mean it's easy for me. I can find it tiring but satisfying. But I do enjoy the problem solving and design challenges it creates. Although I have a topic or an idea in the beginning, it always evolves into something different. Each piece I sew informs the next piece. I don't plan out ahead of time. I keep sewing each piece of fabric and wait for the quilt to tell me what to do next. I begin with an idea and then choose fabrics and start cutting and sewing the shapes that remind me of my topic. I do a lot of staring to space and thinking and imagining. Most of my improv quilts so far have been about how I feel about nature. My quilt for Quilt National was a bit different. I watched a TV show about teenagers visiting an aged care home to reinvigorate the elderly. The unexpected outcome was how lonely and isolated the teenagers were, and the interaction helped them as much as the elderly. It seems that the teenagers are lonely, even though they are more connected than ever before with their phones. Many have lost the art of conversation. Nobody seems to know if the problem is a result of the pandemic or the phones themselves. My quilt is called Communication Breakdown, and I chose Kona cotton fabrics in greys with some olive green and yellows to represent loneliness and isolation. This quilt began differently from the others because I made the words first to see if I could successfully create them and then built the quilt around the words. The lines of squares represent the phone keyboard and the fine intersecting lines represent the communication difficulty. Although my contemporary work is abstract, it has hints of reality that help express my feeling on the subject. I particularly love curved piecing. I enjoy cutting the fabric with a rotary cutter and creating a new shape every time. It is so satisfying to me. I enjoy the repetition of shapes and lines. I love using detail in my work, maybe from my crazy quilt and embroidery days, but I think details can help tell a story, and the quilting pattern creates another level of texture. I enjoy the machine quilting as much as I enjoy the piecing. I use silk thread for quilting and in the same colour as the fabric because the silk is fine and doesn't distract from the quilt. I love the gentle sheen you get from silk thread. Thank you to Quilt National, the Dairy Barn and the sponsors for putting on such a marvellous event, and thank you for listening to my story.